welcome. Thank you so much for these sounds. The Lord is my shepherd. And yeah, we are here at the end of this year on Spreaker.com in the Voice from Heaven. And I invite you to join me in this last episode of this series, The Needed Change to Be Whole. And yes, that is a needed change. We have worked it through 13 episodes, and though that needed change is really just perceived and experienced in our own personal transformative measures, or how we wanna measure it at all, because there in truth there is no measurement to our transformative experience. And also, of course, God doesn't need the change of his son, because he knows him whole. He knows what he is, who he is, what he created. He knows his son's perfection. And that is truly the love that we share with each other, no matter if it is recognized or not. That love is that certainty of what we are, and that there hasn't been any change in God's mind about us. Neither about me, neither about you, neither about anyone. And so we have here the last few lessons, right, that we are doing seemingly in the same words, that we give this holy instant to him. Yeah, this holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you. And those are great words. But if you really look a little bit closer, they are quite challenging. It is that is the challenge of transformation, to allow a higher power, to allow the Holy Spirit, to allow Christ to be in charge, to allow God to be in charge, and no longer claiming it to be in charge myself, yourself. Because that is really why we have been given A Course in Miracles. That is really the reason why there is an activity of forgiveness, an activity of change of mind suggested or then experienced personally as required. And again, the truth is that everything is already at home. The truth is everything is accomplished. The truth is that we have not changed as God created us. And so any of that experience challenge within personal transformative mind is still part of that spiel, that game that we are playing with ourselves, in acknowledging constantly the denial, acknowledging constantly the limitation, something that in truth nobody, and of course we cannot be. So as long as that is part of the mind, as long as there are those um, ideas of littleness, of belittlement of ourselves, and diminishing the power that our mind truly is, and through which we are expressing ourselves, no matter in what form, no matter in what way, that power of mind is always total and always accessible with God's mind completely. It is always an extension, a complete extension of God. Unless it is personal experience, it is not. And if it is personal experience, that it would be not. That's what is called throughout the entire Course in Miracles the ego, or the ego thought system. And then, of course, there's a prescription and the necessity of an alternative, and the prescription of, hey, look, here is a lesson of the day. Here's an idea that can be, with some willingness, be carried along through the day, no matter what happens. That is the alternative and the replacement of your own thought system. And that is the required course. That is the required course, that we allow that to occur, that we make ourselves willing to go along and give everything, so that we are shown that in truth nothing has happened, nothing has really changed. we are still back home in heaven as that light, as his love, as all peace of the universe. And that is, in other words, the following him. We follow him when we are willing to follow his teaching, right? Or the knowledge that has been given us. That we follow inside our mind the truth and not our own learning, not our own concepts, not our own answers, not our own directives, not our own plans for salvation. And altogether, it is amazing because there is no failure in that. As long as we do that, we will receive uh, experiences of separation, experiences of fear and guilt, experiences of not being whole. And as long as that is chosen in the mind, that experience will be seen as real and reality. And of course, then words coming in through this course or through whole mind and letting us know then none of this is true and this need not be, are not even heard. Yeah? Or if they are heard, then they might just be the springboard for a new beginning. And that new beginning is really what Jesus teaches in these last days of the year, because it is a new beginning of a new experience of seeing ourselves and everyone and everything in a new light, in a new perspective. And maybe just sharing here at the very beginning these sentences from these final lessons, where he really, at the end of these final lessons, tells us that we will not end this year without the gift our Father promised to his Holy Son. This is a gift that has been promised you, that he promised me, and therefore also is guaranteed, has been given us. And he makes here a little list of things that we can acknowledge in their characteristics as how our mind, what our mind is in the acceptance of the truth. And then he says, we are forgiven now. You are forgiven now, I'm forgiven now. That is the truth. And we are saved from all the wrath we thought belonged to God. We projected unto God. We thought God would punish us with those thoughts or with whatever. And we are saved now from that. That is what he shares with us. That is what he gives us. That is his promise. And all the emotions along the fear of separation, which is, of course, not just a little upset, it is the complete being completely enraged with oneself and enraged with the universe. How could it not be like this? And he continues, and found it was a dream. The moment we recognize that this was a dream and is a dream, we laugh at ourselves, we are relaxed, we know there isn't really anything affecting ourselves, that this is an ongoing teaching and everything is just fine, and all it takes is just for myself individually the acceptance of it, to give it the yes, to give it the gratitude and the thank you, how it is shared. Because why? Because the truth is held up. Because the truth is now what we claim. Because the focus of the mind is on the truth and no longer on one's own self-defense. And we are restored to sanity, he continues. We are restored to sanity, in which we understand that anger is insane, attack is mad, and vengeance merely foolish fantasy. This so common behavior of needing to get even with everyone in our dream in order to demonstrate to ourselves that we would be something, or we would have some worth here. And I love it, when he helps us to let that collapse, because it has collapsed. It has to. And once it is collapsing, it might be a moment of devastation, but there is the rebirth. There's the start of the new beginning. There is then the beginning of that promise that He gives us in showing us moment by moment that it need not be that way. There is heaven really in our hands, in our mind. Heaven is waiting for us, that we claim the truth, that we step up for the truth, and take that as all that we need and want, the truth and nothing else. Because we learned we were mistaken, he said. Yeah, we have been saved from wrath because we learned we were mistaken. We accept that we made the mistake of mistaking the truth just for another illusion, or mistaking illusions for the truth. Yeah, even worse. And that is very common in all spiritual directions and established religions. And the Course in Miracles teaches us very clearly that the truth is true and nothing else is true. Thank you for that. Thank you for accepting that. And nothing more than that. And with that introduction from these final lessons, I'm just going to put here a few sounds of a quick song, and we're just going to dive a moment into letting that sink in and letting that be what it is, and see that everything is just fine, and we have all reason to be grateful and express that gratitude for ourselves and with each other, and so in correspondence with everyone in our mind. Absolutely. Thank you.